Quick update to my WT Micro Jeep Willys build. I put some windows in. These actually came from Chick-fil-A, if you can believe that. The Chick-fil-A Cool Wrap sandwich container. What I did is I just chopped that thing in half, put it on the ground, stood about 2.5 feet above it, and just gently hit it with some spray paint, like kind of circling around. I think it came out really good. What I was trying to go for here was not perfect. I wanted it to look a little weathered, like it had been, out in the woods, or it drove over some rocks or something and things got kicked up, because I have a feeling this body over time will get all dented up, or I'll change it or something will happen. So I didn't want the windows to like look perfect, if that makes sense. On the inside, what I do is you just trim the fit, right? But before I put this piece in there, I take a little bit of the shoe goo and I go on my finger and I kind of trace it. And I just use like as little as I possibly can. All I want to do is just kind of create an initial like sort of bond with the plastic piece. Then once that's in there, and give it an hour or so to dry, go in there again with a little bit of shoe goo on your finger and just kind of go around the outside. You could use hot glue or whatever, the industrial adhesive is of your choice, but that's kind of how it came out, and I like it. I think it looks good, and you hide all the wiring on the inside. Other things that I did, I put different wheels and tires on it. These are the LGRP, I believe these are the Apex wheels, and then the black labels. I like to trim the inside and outside for really no reason. I just think they look a little bit cooler. I like more of a rounded tire versus maybe a square tire. What I did is just took a pair of flush cuts and just went around the outside. So that being said, other things that I did are I upgraded the front to a brass axle housing. LGRP had a great sale the other day. I think it was like 15% off. And then being a member, you get another 15% off. So I think I got this thing for like 30 bucks or 32 bucks or whatever it was. I'm debating doing one in the back. I have an extra one. I don't know if I'll throw it in there or not, but I might. The only downside is like on my course, I have a lot of kind of like steep sections, and it's kind of like I'm dragging it more. So I might just leave it out. Or if I throw it in, maybe I'll take out the diff cover and just put like an aluminum one in there so I can get it at least a little bit lighter than the front. So other things that I did, I switched out the motor. I like that purple Endura, but I like this mini Kimono a lot better. And the reason I say that is because it has a little bit more wheel speed to it, and my driving style, I like to kind of slow crawl where I can, but also like bump up and kind of like get over stuff in maybe a more aggressive way. So this motor allows me to do that. And then with the FuriTech app, as we all know, you can do a lot more customization with throttle curves and that sort of thing. So I like to mess around a little bit more with that now. And I had an extra one of these sitting around, so I just threw it in there. So one thing I did want to call out though, which is, I don't know, smart if you ask me, and I'm the only one replying, is I dremeled this front part down a little bit, because what I did was I took like an old battery tray in like a stock SCX24 chassis, and I trimmed off all the bottom parts. And basically what I did was I just mounted it here with a little bit of like shoe glue, or you could use whatever industrial glue you have. And then after that dried, I took a little bit more and went over the top. So this basically just allows me like an extra mounting point for my receiver, because I was messing with this thing before and I noticed that I just didn't have enough space in here, really, no matter how I position these things. And the Lizard Pro that I have some shrink wrap on, it just, you have wires coming out of both sides, so it was really kind of hard to place this thing like on this side or whatever. So I just needed some more room. And then if you're on this particular body with the stock chassis, you can't really put anything in the back, because like it'll hit like where the cab is, or the cab meets the bed. So I made this and I just threw the receiver there, because this thing weighs, I don't know, maybe like 8-10 grams or something. So it's not a huge deal that it's a little bit higher than maybe I would like. I mean, you could try to run the battery there too, I suppose, but I think the battery is probably a little bit better up front and down low. So that's what I'm going with there. Closes easily. Like, subscribe. I will see you in a future video. Peace.